Hello, tiny friends. Welcome back. If you celebrated Thanksgiving, I hope you had a lovely one, and Merry Christmas to you and your loved ones. This is day 1 of the 12 days of a vintage Christmas, and I thought it would be more fun to do a little Christmas series, sort of like a little Christmas special with this project, since there was so many pieces. If you've been following along with me, you'll know that I'm creating a 1930s farmhouse that's pretty old, but they don't really celebrate holidays there because it's just not that time of year at the Josephine house. So Miss Margot will be storing this project in the attic. You might want to get yourself a nice warm cup of Christmas cheer. I love chai tea. I think it's like drinking Christmas in a cup, but whatever your choice may be, hot cocoa, hot tea, coffee, this will probably be a good time to get yourself something warm and cozy to drink. There are going to be some shifts in this whole series because I was having serious issues with my programs. So I had to go back and forth with my phone. I had to go back and forth with different programs until I can get that all figured out. So I do apologize for that. I found this Christmas project on Amber's House blog spot, and it came through on my Pinterest. And the best part of this project is this is a free printable. Yeah, that's right, tiny friends. This is a free printable. So if you click the link in the description box below, it'll take you to this and you can have it as well. It's a vintage Christmas decoration box set and you'll get 13 boxes and 6 cards, and that's a lot. So I suggest that you download this printable to your computer so that you can have it forever, because a lot of the times these free printables aren't available for long periods of time, and I would hate to have you go and look for this next year and then it's not there. And go ahead and read through Amber's House blog spot, because you'll find other tutorials, other free printables, and just get a lot of inspiration that you might want to create. So thank you very much, Amber, for putting out this lovely vintage Christmas set for free. That was very generous. This specific set is for personal use only, not for resale, but you can make as many pieces as you would like and give them away for gifts. And that would make this gift the gift that just keeps on giving, and those are always the best gifts, right? And I always love to credit the miniature artist that has inspired one of my creations. If I've been inspired by another artist, I just think that it's the right thing to do. So don't forget to keep that in mind as well. This is a pretty big set, so you might want to do a few pieces here, a few pieces there. It's not going to be done in one whole day. Depending on your schedule, it could take, a week. So just take your time and have patience when you're putting these boxes together, because some of them can become a little finicky when you're working with them. There's not a lot of instructions for this set. So I'll share what was suggested for the best results and then what I came up with on my own while I was creating this set. For best results, Amber suggests you print this out on 220 GSM cardstock. I found mine on Amazon. I will also put a link in the description box below in case you get in a bind finding some of your own. You can just click on that link. She also suggests after printing that you spray it with a fixative to set that ink in. You can use hairspray. I use hairspray very often and it works really well. You just want to make sure you're spraying in a far distance and you're spraying lightly. And then you might want to add 2 or 3 coats, so let each one dry in between. If you do come up with some residue, you might be able to see some here on the black. Don't worry about that. That's getting cut out anyways. My paper ended up feeling gritty from the hairspray. So if you come across that, I just brushed it off with my hands and it was perfectly fine. I'm working with a Windows PC and an HP all-in-one inkjet printer, so I had to play around with my settings, and you might have to as well. This first print was fit to page, and it cut off a little bit of the text, but I got the whole print. The second one was fit to print area, and there's not much of a difference between the sizes at all, so I'll be able to use either one of these. And if you're printing miniature prints and you change your DPI setting to 600 on your printer settings, the tiny print and the tiny text should come out very clear. Maybe give it a couple practice runs on regular printing paper to make sure that your print comes out the way you want it. It's suggested to use a sharp craft knife when cutting out the windows, and when you're coming around the wavy and curved edges, you just want to cut in small cuts at a time. Don't try to cut the whole thing out in one line. It'll be a little easier for you, and make sure your blade is super sharp. You'll get cleaner cuts. These three boxes are coated with a letter that you'll see in the corner, and that is the letter for the color that they are. You definitely want to do each one of these separately and make sure you do the top and bottom together because they are different sizes. They also come with the inserts for these three boxes as well. I'm going to fill the boxes with its contents, and I'm going to use my metal ruler to help fold my creases. I picked up a few supplies from my local stores. These ones ran about $1 a piece. I have gold and silver Chanel sparkle sticks or tinsel pipe cleaners. For the cellophane windows in the boxes, I'm going to be using this packaging. It's a little bit harder. It's crispy and crunchy, and the tinsel package is a little bit of a softer plastic, kind of like a sandwich baggie. Um, you can put or not put the cellophane in your window boxes. I'm going to do a few. I'm not going to do all of them. Some of them will have it, some of them won't. This box here has a image of a child, and it's more of a modern image. It's still a vintage image, probably from the 70s or the late 60s. It's too modern for the Josephine house. So what I'm going to do is just paint over that section and try and match up the red on the top of the box. So that's going to be an easy peasy fix. You can do the same if you don't want that image, or you can leave it as is. Okay, I'm going to paint this portion of the box really quickly before I cut, and I'm using my Waverly chalk paint. This color is called Rhubarb, and it dries a lot darker than it looks when it's wet. When it dries, it has kind of like an orangish red tone, almost like a brick color, but I'm mixing it with a red acrylic just to tone down that red a little and darken it up and try to get a little bit more of a vintage red. In the end, it dries darker, kind of like a barn red. Now you can see that these two colors matched up pretty well, and I think they look pretty good. Okay, for these two boxes, the directions specify that you cut them out and fold your creases before cutting out your window. And that is because the framing around the window in the front of the box is so small, it's barely there, and it'll be easier for you to fold your creases first. When I am cutting with my craft knife, I like to cut on the outside of the image if that's an option. Sometimes it's not. So I'll just lay my ruler over the image and cut from the outside. This is because if I were to slip and cut off of my path, I won't cut into my image. And I was just showing you that as a tip. I'm only using my craft knife to cut out the smaller areas and the windows. I use my little tiny scissors to cut around the bigger sections of the boxes. These boxes also come with inserts for your garland, and you can see right now that they don't have tabs on them, and that is because I was following the instructions where she added paper tabs. I stopped doing that and just found it easier to leave the tabs on and kind of create my own tabs because there really aren't any markings for tabs. So what I did was just left each corner with a square, and then on the outside of the tab I cut at an angle, and then on the inside I cut on the line or the color. You can see the difference, or you can see where you need to cut. And then I made another cut at an angle right next to that straight line and kind of cut out a little triangle piece. And this is what they should look like. Of course, it's totally up to you on which way you want to put these boxes together, but I thought this saved some time, it saved some steps, and it saved some paper. So I just found it to be a bit easier to create the boxes this way. If you're working with a box that has the black lines, you want to make sure you fold those black lines in. So those black lines should be on the inside of your box, not the outside. And I think now I can get back to cutting the garland boxes. Okay, I'm going to use my metal ruler to help fold my sides, and it'll give me a more even crease. You can choose to create all your boxes this way. It's totally up to you. But for these two specific boxes, you want to fold your sides first before cutting out your window. And that is because you won't really have much to hold on to create your folds if you cut your window out first. The frames around the window are so tiny, they're barely there. So just for these two boxes, she specifies to make your folds before cutting out your windows. Okay, my boxes are creased, my windows are cut out. Now I'm going to add my cellophane windows to this. I'm going to use my tacky glue. You can use your regular basic white PVA glue, Elmer's glue, whatever kind of white glue you have. That's all you're going to need to put these little boxes together and to add these little windows. Okay, so these were the only boxes that I added the paper tabs to, so I'm just going to breeze through putting these together. I'm taking my pipe cleaner and I'm just leaving a little extra to hang over so that I can bend it back and press it nice and tight. This will keep it nice and snug, and I'm going to wrap the pipe cleaner around the card 3 times, so you should get 3 strands of this. As I wrap each strand around the card, I'm pressing it down nice and tight. And at the very end, I'll do the same thing I did in the beginning. I'll leave a little extra hanging over, snip off the excess, and then just give that little extra a pinch close. And there it is. You don't need any glue for this. I did the same thing with the gold, and now I'm going to add it to the boxes. So when you're putting your garland in your boxes, I highly suggest maybe putting some sort of stuffing behind it. Add some stuffing or paper first. So if you have tissue paper, that'll work great. If you have cotton balls, some fabric, whatever you have, I would suggest putting that in the box first before adding your garland. I didn't do that here, but if I make these again, I would definitely do that. It'll keep your garland all the way up to the front and very close to your window. So when you put your lid on, you'll be able to see it a little better. Now, I chose to go with gold and silver because I'm sticking with the traditional vintage Christmas decor, but you can choose to use any color garland you would like. You don't even need to use these pipe cleaners. You can use little beads and do bead garland, but these are garland boxes. So this is what they look like. Of course, they're not going to stay looking brand new, not in the Josephine house. If you've been with me for a while, you know that everything in the Josephine house is pretty old. But I'll come back to these later on. So that is it today, tiny friends. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoy your free printable gift. And I hope you all come back for day 2 of the 12 days of a vintage Christmas to see which ornament box I'm making next. I'm sorry about Kiwi. She's just trying to say goodbye as well. If you enjoyed this video today, tiny friends, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you have any issues printing out the printable, let me know. I'll try to help you with that. You can print it out right from the link. You don't have to download it to your computer. On the 12th day of this special, we'll get to see all of the boxes put together in the attic. So until the next time, tiny friends, you all have a lovely day, and I will see you all on the mini side.